Good afternoon. Today, justice has been served. During the morning rush hour on April 12th, 2022, Frank James unleashed a premeditated attack on unsuspecting New Yorkers he trapped in a subway car, firing 32 shots and seriously wounding 10 people. For those acts, Frank James was sentenced to 10 concurrent sentences of life in prison and an additional 10-year consecutive sentence. The daily lifeblood of New York City is in its transit system. It's found in the subway cars that are responsible for safely transporting New Yorkers every single day. Frank James attempted to take that sense of safety away and inject fear and chaos into the heart of this city. While he found temporary success in his plot, due to the resilience of New Yorkers and our relentless pursuit of justice, he ultimately failed. On that horrific morning, when New Yorkers left their homes and boarded the N train, they had no idea that they were entering a death trap that Frank James orchestrated. A trap that he had been planning for years, during which he purchased smoke bombs, disguises, and guns. In the weeks leading up to the attack, he scouted the location for his attack. He completed multiple practice runs. On the day of the attack, when the train was between stations, he put his evil plan into action. Set off a smoke bomb, causing his victims to flee to the end of the train. They had nowhere else to run. Then he fired at them 32 times. 32 times in a closed subway car. We can only imagine the terror that the passengers in that car experienced that morning. And each time he pulled the trigger on his handgun, he made the choice to try to take a life. And although fortunately no one died, 16 of those 32 bullets struck the bodies of the cornered, innocent victims. The victims, not just those who were wounded physically, but also those who witnessed this horrific act, and others who put themselves at risk to help, will live with these traumatic events for the rest of their lives. From the victim who saved another passenger's life by applying a makeshift tourniquet, to the victim who nearly lost her unborn child, to the victim who was shot 3 times and miraculously lived, dozens of people's lives will forever be negatively affected because of the defendant's heartless acts of terror. The impact and the fear were felt beyond the direct victims in that subway car and in that station that morning. The defendant terrorized the city at large. Schools were on lockdown. Parents rushed to pick up their kids to make sure they were safe. People feared taking the subway. No one knew whether there would be additional attacks. There was a citywide manhunt for more than 24 hours, and the terror caused by the attack lingered until the defendant was caught. And today, Frank James was justly held accountable. I want to thank our law enforcement partners who helped us secure justice in this case: the FBI, the NYPD, the New York Joint Terrorism Task Force. I also want to thank the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, and the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, which provided critical assistance along the way. The excellent and determined work and cooperation of these agencies led to the identification and apprehension of Frank James. And without the efforts of these agencies, we wouldn't be standing here today. I want to thank my outstanding prosecution team, Assistant United States Attorney Sarah Winnick, Ellen Seiss, Ian Richardson, Paralegal Specialist Magdalena St. Surin, and the entire National Security and Cybercrime section from my office. And I want to express appreciation to Attorney General Garland, Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco, and our colleagues in the National Security Division of the Department of Justice for their support during the investigation of the attack and, of course, through the course of this case. Finally, I want to say to the people on that N train and in that station that morning, I want to thank you. You helped each other get to safety and to medical care. Your efforts assisted law enforcement in the quick identification of the defendant. On a day when evil imperiled so many, you showed that this city is made of good people, that we look out for one another. You are the fabric of this city. You are resilient. And on a dark day of danger and fear, you showed strength and courage. You showed that you are the light. Today's sentence sends a clear message to any would-be terrorist. If you plan to commit an act of violence, this office will aggressively pursue federal charges against you and prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law. Now you'll hear from FBI Special Agent in Charge, Rob Kissane.
Thank you, Breon. Today, Frank James was sentenced for his deliberate and calculated act of terror against our city. As he admitted, James intended to cause mayhem and panic, deploying a smoke device to create confusion at the start of his attack. He intended to violently kill innocent people who were simply going about their daily lives during the morning rush. Thankfully, no one lost their life that day. It is my hope the harsh punishment handed down by the court helps bring closure and a sense of justice to the victims and serves as a deterrent to anyone who would even think to travel and terrorize our city. FBI New York will ensure you meet a similar fate. It is because of the dogged determination and vigilance of the investigators from the FBI New York Joint Terrorism Task Force that James was brought to justice and is facing the consequences he rightfully deserves. Relationships and coordinated efforts with our local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies, especially with our largest partner, the NYPD, as well as help from the public, were crucial to the successful resolution of this case. The FBI New York JTTF will continue to be relentless in our commitment to protect our city and the nation. I would again like to thank the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of New York, Breon Peace, and his outstanding team from ED&Y's National Security and Cybercrime section. Thank you again to the NYPD. Thank you also to the ATF and MTA for your valuable assistance in the course of this investigation. And thanks to the Department of Justice National Security Division's Counterterrorism section. Have a good day.